really is what it comes down to for me is the joy of connecting with somebody, sharing a passion, sharing an enthusiasm with them, where you've turned them onto something, you've expanded their their enjoyment of wine.
Sure.
And they're going to come back.
You saw the light go off. Yeah. That was it. You went there together.
It's about that is what's going. A lot of people think about how can I, sell them upsell the wine,
sure,
increase my tips, etc.
Right.
That's backwards.
I almost think of that as like the classic waiter perspective.
Yeah.
The sommelier is usually the guy who's like, well, you can actually drink better for less if you know what I mean.
That's such a hard message to get across, and I've had to fight so many times because then the manager, the GM, right, somebody's going to say, hey, we're thinking about the bottom line here.
Right. We're paying you to cost us money. But you're like, well, I mean, you're paying me to build regular clientele and a culture.
It's about building the foundation. So
there's a lot of places people could go. Maybe they'll come back here because of the relationship that we build. And I think that's what fine dining is, right? Is you're building a relationship. Because when I go to McDonald's, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
When I think of even places that are good fast food, we all like our burger or wherever it is, no one cares that I'm there, right? And the difference between that and fine dining is not the quality of the silver fork, but it's someone saying, hey, it's great to see you again, and this is how I can help you out. I think that's what fine dining is. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right, and I think that fast food, McDonald's is the one place where they're putting out a standard product,
right,
and people are going to go back.
Right.
But they don't really care about building. It doesn't. They don't have to get that repeat clientele. People are always going to go.
Sure.
At any of Danielle's restaurants or any fine dining establishment, you need that customer to come back.
Well,
you can't just say
Danielle's one of the great at it. I mean, nobody builds a regular clientele like Danielle. You don't see that committed regular clientele at any other restaurant in the world. I don't think. But not on that scope.
But
where that 10 years later, that person's still going there twice a week and they're still there.
That's right. But you know that the upper management and the sommeliers and the maitre d's don't take it for granted the customer's just going to come back.
No, you can't because you're held accountable, I think.
Right. We have to believe that we want this customer to come back, that we need them to come back, because we don't know. There's a lot of choices in New York. There's a lot of competition.
But regulars are in a way the easiest. Because, they already understand what you're about, and you already have some glimpse of what they like. If you've seen somebody 3 times and you can't nail it for them in terms of a wine choice, you've screwed up. Like, something's really wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be my worst fear in the world.
So anyhow, I mean, the joy of working the floor was that kind of experience. It was really fulfilling to satisfy the clientele.
It wasn't just the wine. You were in a spot where you got to talk about something you cared about with people who were listening, and that was what the deal was. That was the joy, right?
The joy is being able to create a program where you have a platform on which you can really stand and communicate this enthusiasm.
Right.
And this is the other thing that I like. I think in the Dining Group in Danielle's restaurant, we have a great team of sommeliers that are really passionate about wine and want to communicate that. And I think that's where we're lucky, because I think you go to restaurants and they're just going through the motions of pulling the cork and making the beverage cost. That's not enough. It's about building a program and enthusiasm so you have this platform, so you have a clientele that's there to become enlightened, to learn something, and have another really meaningful dimension to their dining experience. Because dining today, it's not just about getting good food. People have put wine on the table as part of their dining experience. And I don't know what I was going to say, but
no, in a way, I mean, it really is like being a classic host for people. Let's try this together.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, of course, Marché is expensive, but a lot of wines that we serve at restaurants, the cost is actually relatively small to happiness. It's a small amount of Sancerre that you have to pair with oysters to really light somebody up if it's the first time they've ever seen this happen.
But talking about this with you, it makes me think how the dining experience, people go to restaurants because the chef, the quality of the food.
Sure. Well, usually. I mean, I think if you don't have the great chef, it doesn't matter how great the wine program is, you're going to fail. I mean, nobody goes for lousy food.
That's right.
I really believe that. Like, that's at the end of the day, that's why I give so much respect to the kitchen, because at the end of the day, they make the restaurant, and I'm just there. That's right.
Well,
I've seen it go bad.
they make the day, but also without a good front of the house, maitre d', server, captain, sommelier, you could ruin the experience,
Oh, no
even
question.
if the food is great.
I've done that plenty of
Okay?
times.
Well, I don't think so. But so you have the food, you have the maitre d', the welcome at the door, but the sommelier is the person who's like this added component that I think people really are looking for today to enhance their experience. And it's a special position in a restaurant and a great opportunity for sommeliers today. And I just wish that the young team of sommeliers today realize their potential. Hopefully they do, and the impact they have on the dining experience.
And then it's more than just about percentages of oak and whatever cuvee.
No. Yeah.
So
it's about making it a really great experience for the customer.
let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about both ends of that. Now, you've had a long career, and you have worked with people who've gone on to be huge. Bernie Soon, director of all John George's wine list, used to work for you at Montrachet. Tim Kopak, developed subsequently Veritas, one of the great wine restaurants in the world.
Yeah.
Used to work with you. And then, you have a desire to communicate to these younger sommeliers what's important to you. So I think anyone who's a younger sommelier maybe watching this video would like to know, what is it that you're looking for in an interview? How is it that you're picking these people who have gone on to great careers? What are the kind of things you're looking for these people to say? How is it that someone can come in and meet you and say, this is what this person is interested in. This is why I'm here, is because he shares the interests that I have. That's why I showed up for this interview. He's looking for this, and I am that. I realize that about myself. What are those qualities?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking it, because I find so often I'll get the resume, or even in the conversation, the comment, I'm sitting for the Court of Master Sommeliers, or I'm on the program for this and that. And frankly, I don't care.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, no offense to an educational
no offense at all.
project that's done a lot of great work.
I don't want to criticize that, because I think it puts people on a track.
But this isn't what you're looking for.
No, it puts people on a track to study. It creates, a framework with which they can study and improve their knowledge. So that's good. But what I'm looking for, the first question I'll ask, one of the first questions is, what was the experience, the moment, the wine, the place that got you excited about wine?
Okay.
Why do you want to be a sommelier today? Was there that experience that sort of triggered this enthusiasm, this desire to be a sommelier?
Because it doesn't just come out of nowhere. You don't just roll up and say, I want to be a sommelier.
I mean,
it has to be real.
You don't go through a guide of professions and land on S and say, right. This looks like this could be fun.
Right.
Well,
maybe they only got volume 20, S through Z.
So if they did, then I'm not that excited.
Right.
But I really like to hear the story of what it was that got them excited about wine. And it could be a visit to a winery, it could be a bottle. I mean, my first experience was when I was working in a wine store. I already had some interest, but I didn't know how great my interest was at the time. And I asked the manager of the store, I said, I'd like a really, really special bottle of wine for Thanksgiving. And this was in 1982. So he gave me a bottle of La Mouline 1976.
My God.
From Gigal.
Wow.
That was on the shelf for $30.
Oh my God.
I still remember. And I brought it up to my mom's for Thanksgiving and opened it with the turkey. And I remember to this day pouring the wine and tasting it, and this like electric shock of wow.
That's great.
And the 76 La Mouline is still a great bottle of wine,
still,
provided it's been stored well and it's fresh.
Thank you, Tom Black, for letting me know that.
But it was so good, I said, this is too good for Mom.
Right. Hey, I got the Smuckers over here for you,
pour this
Mom.
Infidel for everybody else.
So you could have been a wine steward for Richard Nixon,
Yeah.
Famous for that kind of
stuff. So, it's experiences like that I still remember, I don't know what it's like, almost 40 years later.
Right.
where it really stoked the fires, and I got into it. So that's what I look for. I want that passion. I want people to be able to tell me what it was that got them excited. Then I want them to have a base of knowledge. I want them to, have an understanding of France, the geography, the grape varieties, and so on. But it's really, the most important thing is that enthusiasm and desire to work.
Got it. Yeah, because it's not a part-time gig, let's be honest,
You got to work, and I also don't want them to think, Well, one of the things I'm afraid of in the Master Sommelier program is that I think some of them think of it as a quick catapult from
Sure.
getting the certification to becoming a superstar without having to go through that whole process of unpacking cases, cleaning the bottles, maintaining a wine list, a beverage cost, creating an exciting program for the staff and the clientele.
Sure.
And you can't just catapult from point A to point Z without going through the rest of the alphabet. There's a lot of hard work involved and a lot of fun along the way.
I can certainly tell you that if you're a very tall, skinny, sort of uncoordinated white guy, it's not going to happen for you that way. You got to do all the steps. No one's going to come and make you a movie star overnight. That's my
Yeah, well, if you're short, kind of a short, squat, guy like me, it's not that easy either.
So, I mean, here you are, you're at Montrachet, and nobody knows what, Chambol is. And now, here we are, it's, 2011, and these are some of the most talked about coveted wines in the world. What was the change? I mean, when did you see it? Like, when was it like, wow, this could really be big? I remember going onto the website for Montrachet a long time ago. I mean, obviously it's not there anymore, but going on, and there was a page, and it listed a number of top producers, the Vogler, Donnefi, and it said, these are all our friends. I remember Lafon, Roumier. And
Yeah.
I was so touched by that. There's the sense that, like, it was kind of like, that relationship that a great chef has with his purveyors or farms or hunters. It was like, this wasn't just a random collection. This is my people.
Yeah.
Where was that? How did that come about? How did you get, I mean, we know we had the name of the restaurant, but what was the next thing that happened?
Well, the next thing was after maybe 3 or 4 years after the restaurant had opened, and we, the wheels were oiled and things were running fairly smoothly. I had traveled to France again and again and visiting and wanted to get to know the winemakers whose wines we were selling, and invited some of them up to New York to participate in a wine dinner. And wine dinners weren't a real big thing at the time, and it was the first trip to New York for some of these guys, like Christophe Roumier, and Dominique Lafon had been to California. I'm not sure he'd been to New York. But a number of these winemakers who are now superstars
Sure.
had never been to the United States or to New York or participated in wine dinners. And their wines, all these guys had really started in the 83, they'd come back 83, 84, 82, back to the domain from their takeover from their parents.
Sure, take over.
So they were just beginning and developing their own career also. And so as they would come, and these are guys who have charisma, who had traveled, educated, who had...
Lafon is a handsome guy, I would say. He's a perfectly straight, heterosexual
He's on the
male.
wall back here, but I think Christophe Roumier is the guy. But,
I saw that picture.
As a straight heterosexual, I'm the ad as well.
Lafon's got that a la Devon thing going on. I mean, he's especially a good-looking dude.
A lot of charisma, a
Lucky
lot of
genes.
personality, those guys. And that's the thing. They came over, I invited them over, we did dinners, and they communicated not just through their wine, but also the way they articulated and communicated their enthusiasm and their excitement and passion for wine, making better wine than their parents, and always bringing it up, and making better wine for Burgundy. And little by little, the word got out on Burgundy. Not just through these wine dinners, but through the people that would come into the restaurant and enjoy the wine. Some of these collectors of Burgundy today started at Montrachet, started learning about wine at Montrachet.
How does that feel? I mean, that's got to be a nice feeling you created. I mean,
Well,
it became huge. You're bigger than U.S. Steel. I mean, come on. Yeah, look what happened. I mean, look, when I was at Danielle, we used to sell Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And look at it now. It's like a Burgundy house, and everyone's excited about that. And
But
that's what the sales are.
I mean, I was maybe just a link in the chain and helped
But
convey
you
it.
saw it happen, and also you've imported some of these wines.
Yeah, I did.
So I'm not saying you did it, but you saw it. You saw the whole change in the driver's seat, in a sense that a lot of other people didn't have that view.